Ms. Farhani,
Yes,
I'm Detective Mills. Sorry about the restraints, standard procedure until we sort things out.
better you handcuff me than shoot me.
Before we get started, would you like coffee or maybe tea or a soda?
Yes, tea, please. No sugar.
All right, I'll be right back. I double cupped it, but it's still pretty hot, so be careful.
Thank you.
Now, your name, Adila.
It's pronounced Adila.
All right. Your ID says you live on North Park Avenue.
Yes,
I'd like to ask you a few questions to clear up a few things about what happened on the bus.
yes, of course.
One of the men you shot said you screamed Allah Akbar when you pulled the trigger.
No, ma'am, that is not right.
Then tell me what is right.
The phrase you mean is Allahu Akbar. God is greatest.
Oh,
But I didn't say that either. I said nothing. What does the other man say?
not much, I'm afraid. He's dead.
Epiphany. Epiphany. Who was he? Detective? The man who died.
Melvin Garrity, laid off from a flooring company out by the Galleria. Did you know him?
No,
Do you recall ever seeing him before?
no.
What about the other man, Leonard Tubbins?
I cannot even remember their faces now. What does the other people on the bus say?
The driver didn't know what was happening, but he said you were a regular rider.
Yes, Mr. Hamoud. He's a very nice man. He once showed me a picture of his 6-year-old granddaughter when she had her karate trophy.
Well, he told me you always get off at Amherst Station.
The train takes me downtown to the hospital.
Which hospital?
Women and Children's. I work there as a pharmacist. Evening shift. I don't own a car yet, so I take the bus and train every day. I am what they call essential personnel.
I expect so during this crazy time. Are you saving up for one? A car, I mean?
Yes,
A couple of people in the front of the bus say you just started shooting, so they hit the floor. They thought you were a terrorist who wanted to kill everyone.
because of my hijab.
Yes.
And what do the people close to me in the back of the bus say?
No one heard Allahu Akbar.
How could they? When I never said it.
The elderly man who gave you his seat and the 4 women we've talked to all say the same thing.
And that is?
2 young white males got on the bus and pulled off their face masks as they made their way toward the back. They were kind of loud, complaining that masks infringed on their freedom.
Yes, they were loud and rude and got much too close to everyone.
And when they got to where you were sitting, they started harassing you.
They ripped off my mask and said they had the right to see my face because I wasn't a real American.
But you're wearing a mask now.
I always carry extra in my purse. I put on a fresh one before you came.
Of course.
They spit in my face. You took my purse. The first mask is in the zipper pocket in a plastic bag. There's spit on it if you want to run DNA.
Thank you.
I used a sanitary wipe and on my face and hands before I put on a new mask. Was that all right?
That's fine. And you admit firing the gun, so there's no need for a gun shoe residue test. So what happened next?
They called me terrible names.
Like what?
Raghead, ISIS bitch, sand nigger. One of them even said I must be wearing a suicide vest, and he tried to fill my breast.
Take all the time you need.
Thank you. They said I didn't belong in their country and that I should go back where I came from. One of them grabbed my hijab and threatened to hang me with it.
Which one?
The one, not the one who was trying to feel me, the other one. He pulled it so tight.
Is that how you remember everything?
Yes, exactly.
So then you pulled your 9mm Ruger LCP from your purse and shot them both.
Yes, I have a concealed carry permit. Because I work late hours and the bus and train, sometimes
I understand. I've run your permit. There's no problem with it. So let's get back to the man who was assaulting you.
was twisting my hijab around my neck. I said I couldn't breathe, and he said, "Good," and pulled tighter. May I show you my neck?
Yes. Oh my.
What did you just write?
That you have a neck abrasion, which supports your story.
You must understand. I was afraid for my life.
I do.
My hijab is an expression of my faith. It has nothing to do with ISIS or other madmen. Why do some people assume the worst about others?
If I knew that, I'd be something other than a cop. Just remember, it's some people, not all.
And their hate becomes violent.
I expect where you come from, violence is a way of life.
Buffalo? I was born here.
Oh.
But I don't think it's more violent than your average American city.
It has good years and bad years, but this isn't a particularly good year for anybody anywhere.
Now where my parents were born, well, that's another story. Unless you need to know, I'll just say America is their country now. You've never seen a bigger Bills fan than my father, though my brother prefers the Sabres.
One final question. Why hollow points? Did you know they expand to cause maximum tissue damage?
I took a pistol class before I was issued my gun permit.
Well, then you know.
I learned hollow points are less likely to pass through the body and injure someone else.
Oh, that's right.
That nice old man who gave me a seat was right behind the guy who was trying to choke me. The second guy held him back and kept him from trying to help me.
Mr. Greenberg. Yes, that is what he told me.
Is he all right, Mr. Greenberg? It looked like the man was hurting his arm.
He's fine. It was just a bruise.
I've seen him on the bus before, but I never knew his name.
Joseph Greenberg. He's an accountant.
Why do you smile?
He's worried about you.
He is?
He came to the station and refused to leave until he sees for himself you're all right. In fact, he's waiting out there right now with the bus driver and your father. He says if you need a lawyer, he'll call his brother.
In Arabic, my name, Adila, means justice. How can it be justice if someone, an innocent person like Mr. Greenberg, is hurt for someone else's wrongdoing?
Captain?
Mills, the feds are here. The DHS.
Well, that took no time at all. Tell me they're not in camo.
No, but they brought somebody from the Joint Terrorism Task Force along for their ride.
Of course they did.
They want to take over the investigation.
Of course they do.
SOP for suspected terrorist activity.
Have you been watching, sir?
I have.
Well, then you know one terrorist is dead and the other was wounded. This young lady shot them in self-defense.